when the game was really crappy, which was an interesting question, because it really has been quite a journey with you guys to go from 8 warframes in one level, right? And so now we are here on the verge of a few weeks away, not a day or so, but a few weeks away from Fortuna, which is going to be our next massive soon TM Prime soon. The team will appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's our next big expansion. How can I, I made like 3 notes. We get questions about the team size, and it's getting close to a few hundred now on dev, and then we have support staff and localization staff for all the languages and all of the players across the world. So I wanted to kind of tell you about what's being worked on, just briefly. So clearly we have Fortuna coming out, and we've had a dry summer. I think everyone knows we've had a dry summer.
Yeah.
Fortuna has been a monster for us to ship. People have asked me questions like, what was the biggest challenge with it? Why the hell isn't it out yet? Things like that. It's a lot larger, but we're also trying to take the lessons that we've learned from Plains of Eidolon, the repetition of the grind of it, and going back to CDIS in order to take new bounties. Maybe some of the mini games aren't very fun. We also have problems where we ask you to grind for a resource, and that goes into another loop where you have to then craft that resource and then go back. So we really have been working hard to try to make it more interesting and to make, it needs grind, it needs progression, but you need to feel rewarded for the work you've been doing. That's kind of why it's late. We did a whole reboot of the economy last month. So we really want to work on that aspect. After the TennoCon demo, I was sitting in the park and people were like, oh, do I have to get a fishing spear again? And I was just like, yeah, let me just hide in the bushes. So we are, I think we've tried to build a reputation. We listen to our community, and so that's kind of part of why Fortuna's been kind of in this kind of wheel of saying, well, now we finally can render the landscape at the quality we want and the size we want. You can take bounties in the landscape. The economy doesn't feel right. Let's start again. So there's a lot of details about that coming. Fortuna update is really, I don't know if we've said this, but there's really kind of 2 parts to it. Have we talked about this publicly? Is there a blackout?
Like part 1. If you watch the last dev stream, then you'd know that it's 2 parts.
Right. So the really interesting thing about Fortuna is that we didn't want to do what we did with the Eidolons, which is you have basically this night boss fight. You gotta set your watch or use a different website. So we have the orbs, which are the giant enemies of Fortuna. They're going to kind of be coming a little bit after, and there'll be a quest that kind of shows you how that works. And it's going to be a new type of gameplay, a little bit closer, kind of like running a heist. So you have to collect information about how you destroy them, and you have to work with a team to kind of build up how you're going to be able to destroy this thing, who you're going to bribe, who you're going to kidnap, all these sorts of things. So again, we want to try to entertain you guys and keep the game changing. So that's part of why the Fortuna orbs are not going to be like the Eidolons. It's not going to be get the right damage type and go for the right hit proxy and all that sort of thing. So some of that's going to come in a kind of a subsequent phase. So I'm just being open and honest with you about how this is going to roll out. We have a small team working on the Gas City remaster. I think a lot of you guys talking with you tonight have said, whoa, that looks way better than the first rev, and it really does. There's a lot of interesting new graphics and a lot of new art process and a lot of new PBR pipeline, those things. But that's not one of the mistakes we make with a new art set, like we did with Earth, for example, is we say, well, here, it looks fucking awesome. Go there to do the same thing you did. So part of the remaster mandate is that there's going to be new gameplay. So there's a lot more mobility changes. I think we sort of hinted at that.
Yep.
But there's also new enemy types that are coming, which we're calling amalgams. And so the amalgams are this deal that Alad V has made with the devil, which is kind of leading into the new war, if you guys know, following that story. Right. Cool. So the idea is that even if you're a veteran, like you guys clearly are, you still want to go there, you still want to find content, there's still things for you to do, rather than just saying, the graphics are way better, but there's no reason to come back. So that's a really big problem that we've been trying to solve with our remasters. Okay, yes, right, the new war. So we have a team working on the new war that's been working on it since TennoCon. So we are trying, I started off saying there's a lot more people working on Warframe, right? And so now I'm telling you what those different groups are doing. So we're working on the new war. It is the, I don't know if you say Giger or Geiger.
Geiger.
I heard some Giegers. This is, you guys saw it in the Chimera quest. You kind of saw a little hint.
Spoiler, console Tenno, spoiler.
And if you're waiting for that, that actually went to CERT yesterday, today.
Go
Danielle,
play.
Megan,
Yeah. Sorry for the breathing, but headphones on. So we have that, a whole team working on that set. Once you get through Chimera, you will see how different that looks. And that is a whole new set. And I think, again, we try to synthesize everything that the community thinks about. One of the things that I think is a fair criticism is like, DE only cares about open worlds, and that's not true. So when you're going to see the Gas City remaster and the new gameplay, you're going to see the old war come in. You're going to see the kind of type of tile sets that you guys are used to, right? Where it's not just one zone, right? But it's a procedural system. So we really are trying to balance that a little bit better after Plains of Eidolon. So that's going to be something that leads into the new war and has new enemy types. I'm almost done. I have more details. Cool. All right. So the other thing I got a lot of questions about tonight was Railjack. So we have a whole group of people working on Railjack. I've had a few people say, which is totally fair, you know, that they're more excited about Railjack than they are Fortuna. That is a and I think that's a fair thing to say. We or at least I get kind of anxious when the game feels like it's just producing the same thing. So Railjack is our next big. Plains of Eidolon was like, okay, you didn't think Warframe could have this? Well, surprise. So Railjack's the next big thing. Railjack is a cruise ship. It can be played solo. It isn't. Some confusion I've seen is it's a NEF mission connected to Fortuna and the Orb Ballast, but it's not. Railjack is a whole new way to play Warframe. It is a new ship that you can build yourself. You can invite your friends on to then go cooperate to destroy capital ships and explore the kind of, we've been calling this dark sectors. The vets will know, be like, when the hell's that coming back? So this is kind of a horribly long game to get back to that point. So that is another team within DE that's been working on that. What can I say about that? Is there anything I should say about Railjack?
Don't forget to watch our dev streams.
There's a lot to talk about with Railjack. You can imagine all of the Grineer ships and all of the kind of space things that you've seen in the game up to to date have been completely revamped. All the capital ships from all the factions have been completely redone. You saw in TennoCon how close we got to that capital ship that Neff was on. So you can imagine every faction getting its kind of version of those things. So we're not trying to say, oh, there's like a little special mission on Venus to go fight the capital ship. What we're trying to say is, if you leave the planet, now you get access to kind of this meta chart, this kind of off-the-road kind of idea. So we're looking at a different game type, we're looking at different progression, and then questions come up like, well, if I'm on my friend's ship, how does that help me? Because I'm trying to build my own. And of course, the answer is the rewards are shared. So anytime that you're working to advance Rebecca's pink, crappy, decorated ship, I'll be still earning battle modules that I can apply to my ship. So that sort of the sum is greater than its parts that way. And then lastly is the secret thing. So we always have a secret thing, right? So we have the new war, which seems like the end. And of course, we can't let that happen. I still got a mortgage, so we can't let that happen. So we still have the secret thing that we're working on. And of course, that is...
Where are you going with this?
Spill the beans. Spill the beans. Oil. Going out.
I really can't because I'm sorry. We have the secret, we have the next secret thing, and I think it really is targeted towards those that have... Let me tell you.
If you wanted a relationship simulator, it's coming. All right, no, you can actually finish now, sorry.
I can't believe you did that part away.
All right, we're gonna give out prizes now. So Steve,
Wait. Closing remarks. Thank you all. There was the other thing that people were saying tonight was, did you think you'd still be here? When the game first came out, it was small, and it's been growing, and we couldn't have done it without the people that are willing to dedicate themselves and be part of our community and to play for years, thousands of hours, and we had no idea when we were kind of making our Metal Gear Left 4 Dead in Space thing that that's what would happen. But we tried as fast as we could to adapt to that, and we really, from the dev team and from the community team and the support team, all the people that work on Warframe, we really are grateful and we're really honored to be a part of this community with all of you. So keep it coming, and thank you so much for coming here tonight, and thank you for being part of the game.
So here we go. So the first thing we're going to give away is the Nintendo Switch. So I can stop holding it. All right.